Welcome to Impacting Jamaica, where we shine the spotlight on the many but often ignored positive happenings, activities, projects and investments at every level across every sector to inspire, motivate and excite people everywhere. Impacting Jamaica is powered by the Philip and Christine Gore Family Foundation, the Jamaica Public Service Company, Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited, Red Stripe, Kyramed and Proven Investments Limited.
Welcome to Impacting Jamaica. I am Tamika Gordon. I'm speaking with Crystal Daye of Dayelight Publishers, a faith-based publishing and marketing consultancy agency that helps new and aspiring authors to bring their books to life. Crystal was also on the Yahoo Finance Top Book Coaches to Watch in 2021. She's an award-winning best-selling author, international speaker, brand strategist, mother, and as she puts it, an all-round Jesus girl. She will be sharing with us a bit about a bit of her work and how she has impacted the lives of so many through what she does. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly blessed.
Fantastic. Let's begin by asking you to share a little bit about your background. Where are you from? What was life like for you, growing up as a child in your community?
So I was born and raised in the communities. I was born in Maxfield. I spent most of my years in Kencott and in Arnett Gardens. So, persons will say, those are some of the roughest communities here in Kingston, Jamaica. The environment, a lot of violence, poverty. The girls get pregnant at a young age, 16, a lot of girls get pregnant. A lot of the boys get involved in criminal activities. So the reality was that around me, there was not a lot of, I would say, success stories. There's not a lot of role models and people that you could admire. But one of the things I tell people that even though all of that was happening, my parents were pretty guarded about us growing up. So we weren't very exposed to a lot of the things that were happening until probably we got very older. But my parents, they were from humble background. So, we grew up in, I would say, poverty to an extent, because there are days that, we couldn't afford lunch money. You don't go home and tell mommy that you have a school trip, right? Because, because you know that she couldn't afford it. But they tried the best as they could. They really tried the best. So while I tell people that we were financially poor, we were rich in love, because, my brothers and I, my sister, we grew up very close. I have a great relationship with my siblings, etc. So that's kind of what my beginning was like. I was very focused. I was very school driven. My father was very, one of those fathers that you had to, like I tell people up to now, I don't know how to ride a bicycle because I just stayed home, stayed in every day and read books. I didn't have that childhood where you play probably Kadalios, but for the most part, I wasn't exposed to that, going outside, bicycle and all of these things. But moving as I grew up, I was very driven in terms of hardworking and always doing great in school, very active, always trying to become the first or, come first in my class. I passed my common entrance at 10. I went to the Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha, and, I just went to Alpha and tried doing my best. I excelled, graduated the top girl at the school, and, trying to always be a role model for my siblings. So that's kind of what my life was like growing up. There are so many things that happen in between, but I'll pause there.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you stayed in and read a lot of books. How did that aspect of your life as a child and your upbringing position you to become an entrepreneur, particularly in the field that you now are?
It's funny that you said that, because for me, if you had asked me this question before, I would have said no. While I've always loved books, I honestly never know that this would have been my path, if you understand what I mean. But my parents, they always say it's funny that I'm a publisher. No, and stuff, because for them, they thought that this was like, they're not surprised. So I would say that for me, I'm a little bit like, I didn't know this. I always thought that I was just be a politician and that's it. Get into law, get into politics. I always knew that I would be impacting people. Like from as long as I can remember, I knew would have been impacting people, but I didn't know it would have been through books. But I could now see, how God used that, my love for books, as young as I can. I remember coming from school, and there would be like people on the road selling books, and I would literally use my lunch money and buy math book, and I was just there home and just practicing math. And it's just crazy, But I didn't know that it would have led to this, but God knew. And I would say yes, it has, my love for books from a child has aided me to be a better publisher and book coach now.
So tell us now, how did you get into this line of business? How did you become a publisher?
I would love to say, Crystal, you studied and, you went to school and you did some English degree and, and all of these things. Honestly, if I'm being very honest, this is God. And I know people might be saying, oh, she's just being a over spiritual person because she's a Christian. No. I was on my path of, I worked in the government. So I did accounting. So I did very well in business at in high school, right? So I actually collected the top business award in my high school. So I knew that I was going to get into business, entrepreneurship, accounting, right? So I was in accounting doing in the government field for a few years. I always, in my back of my head, as I said, thought about doing my law degree so that I can eventually get into politics. But I was working in accounting. I got into procurement. I had gotten to a place so I gave my life to the Lord. And I remember, just kind of seeking the Lord for purpose, because for me, at 24, I had reached a place in my life where I felt like, whoa, I wouldn't say I'm rich and famous or anything, but a lot of the goals that I wanted to accomplish, I had accomplished it. I bought my own home, I had a nice car, I had a beautiful daughter, I had a great career. I was doing my MBA. And while I'd accomplished all of the things that I felt like I needed, when I got them, it felt like something was missing. And that's how I started to pray and ask the Lord about what my purpose is. And the more I prayed, the more I sought the Lord. He said, you're here to impact people with your story, impact people with your message. And it just led to, me being exposed to blogging, and I started blog, and then the blogs, were going viral. People were like, hey, when are you going to write a book? And I'm like, I don't know about no book thing, because back then, 2015, it feel like all the famous people wrote books, especially in Jamaica. We weren't that exposed to like self-publishing and all of that. So, but I kept feeling like in 2015, I just felt the Lord like, hey, all the things that you have accomplished, how you have been discovering your purpose, I want you to write that in a book, right? And that's how my first book, Living a Royal Reality, was birthed. In the book, as again, I'm a professional student. So even though I had gotten a publisher overseas.
So hold on a second. Let's break that down for our listeners. So your quest to develop yourself led you to be praying, and because of your faith, you were saying, what is it that you want me to do, Lord? And that led you to write a book to share your story, because you knew that the calling on your life was to impact people.
Yes.
So you ended up writing your first book, which came out in 2016.
Yes.
It's interesting too that that book, based on your website, became a bestseller in just 48 hours.
Yes.
So tell me about that experience and what that meant for your growth and your profession as a book coach.
Listen, I'm loving this interview. Here's why. Because sometimes, because 2015, 2016, that feels so long ago, sometimes you forget the process. So I thank you for bringing me back. As I mentioned, even though I was working with a publisher, I started to do extensive research about publishing. I started to just study marketing and branding. And the more I researched, I saw this thing called Amazon bestseller. And in my research, I didn't see any Jamaican at the time, becoming an Amazon bestseller. And I'm the kind of person, I'm very competitive. So I'm like, all right, studying, buying courses overseas and stuff. Like, oh, how can I become a bestseller? No, the truth is, when I launched it, and I had a platform, but I didn't have like million. I probably had like maybe 100 or 200 people on Instagram. Did I even on Instagram that time? I don't even remember. Probably it was like 2018. I came on Instagram. So this is just me having probably like a email list of 200 people and a few people on my Facebook, etc. But as I said, what I found interesting is that when the book released, the publisher in 2 days message and said, Crystal, like you are number one, and I'm on the Amazon bestseller list, and I'm like, okay. And when we went,
you know what that meant, in terms of the impact and success of the book.
Yeah. So when about day 3, it was still number one, and I remember when we checked the download, like within the 2 days, like 250 people had bought the book. And it might sound small to some people, but for me, as I said, I didn't have like I didn't have the amount of platform that I have now, So it meant that people were discovering, and within a month, like over 1,000 people had bought the book, and I'm like, what is happening? But what that had did for me, it meant that no. So I started to do business coaching with a coach, because I always wanted to do entrepreneur. So I wanted the coach to help me to build my coaching business and my speaking business. And I remember she said to me, because I'm Christian, and she said, why don't you help people, to other authors, to you're a successful author, like why don't you help other people to write books? And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, I know that I can do it for myself, but I don't know if I can do that for others. And I think that was when she planted a seed, and she said, well, go and pray about it. And as I prayed, and research, I'm like, whoa, I think I can do this, but I wasn't very confident. And literally the Lord used 3 different persons, right? 3 different persons to confirm it. 3 pastors, separate pastors that know me, call me and say, hey, the Lord says that you should help me to write my book. So that's kind of how, I got the confirmation. But for me, again, I studied.
Remind us, Crystal, what the name of your book is, your first book.
Oh, my first
Amazon
book
bestseller.
Yeah. So my first book is Living a Royal Reality, Discovering Your Purpose, Worth, and Identity in Christ. It's really an amazing book. But I can say, now I'm a 10 times author. At least 6 of my books have become an Amazon bestseller. Since I launched my publishing company over in 2017, we have helped over 40 bestsellers, persons to become bestsellers. We have published over 200 books, worked with over 500 authors in over 11 countries. So, God has been faithful to me on this journey.
Interesting. And that's why your story is such an impactful one. So let's get into the business of book publishing now and what it is that you do. But share with me some of the lessons that you had to learn, because you are coming from a place of wanting to share your story, learning how to share your story, and now being able to help others. What are some of the lessons that you had to learn quickly as you grew as a businesswoman and as your business grew?
Some of the lessons. So I think the first thing I would say to anybody about business is that business is about solving a problem. It's about filling a gap in our market. And sometimes people like us, myself, and persons that desire to impact people, we try to just think about, okay, how we can do something. And that's not necessarily what the market wants. So it's important that the self in you die is not necessarily what you want, but it's what others need and what you are good at, how you can fill that need. So that's one of the major lessons that I have been learning about business. Yes, I want to help them to do this particular thing, but how can I, based on what they want, pair what I want to do with what they want? Because people are going to pay for anybody. Like, we don't just go and buy things, right? We buy things to either fill a need, to that's a solution. Like people are looking for a solution, and that's how they will spend their money. So that's the number one thing I've learned about business.
So it's matching the needs. It's being in tune with your customers' needs and finding that sweet spot in how to supply that need.
Yes.
Great.
I think the second thing, the second thing is that I would say that you have to be a lifelong learner as an entrepreneur, because your business will not grow more than you. So especially what you find that with women, sometimes they get so emotionally attached to, okay, this is where I'm at right now and I'm satisfied with where I'm at. But what you find different with men, and I was thinking about it today, men entrepreneurs are always networking. They're always collaborating with each other. They're always like, what you find that with women, it's not as easy. We don't easily promote each other. We don't easily cheer for each other. So you find that we have to be a lifelong learner so that we're able to grow. We're able to grow in networking. We're able to grow in our brand. We're able to grow marketing wise. We're able to grow, and also asking for help. A part of learning is learning to ask for help. So because we don't know everything, you understand, we can't do everything in our business. So that's number two, like be a lifelong learner. And I would say, bracket, ask for help. And the final thing I would say regarding business is that, like you are not limited by where you are at. One of the major accomplishments, I believe, for me as an entrepreneur is that I had a desire to impact people globally. So while I'm located in Jamaica, I wasn't restricting myself to Jamaica. I had to learn about how to build a brand online so that I'm able to touch people all over the world, work with different people from the Caribbean, work with different people in other continents also. So, just not be limited in our minds about where we are at, but, have an abundance mindset to know that, as the Bible says, for me, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. So I can access everything that the Lord can present to me in the world.
Those are some lovely gems, Crystal. Thank you for that. Has there been a challenge or an instance that you had to grapple with? What was your greatest challenge, and how have you overcome that?
That's a very good question. Definitely. I've had several challenges in my business. I'm not going to like that. That is the truth. I think probably I would say my top two challenge is finding, let me say, getting the help. All right, so I'm not very good administrative wise, but sometimes as a small business owner, you feel like, hey, I have to do everything because I cannot afford it. So, but when I do try to get help, like I hire somebody, admin, you find that people are just not as vested in the business as you would want them to. Maybe you're not compensating them enough, or etc. So one of the things that I've been learning, that has been a challenge for me, is to hire good help, hire people that will be able to buy into the vision and to help you to build that vision. But I don't give up. I've just been trying. So, I recently hired a new admin assistant, trying to work. I don't just give up. And sometimes I feel like I want to give up because I'm like, Lord, I just don't know if I can do this alone. But, I try to extend and give other people a chance. Another major challenge I would say is just the mindset, a mindset challenge where, especially as a Jamaican Black Christian woman, I realized that money is one of those things that, especially growing up in poverty like I do, money is not a conversation that we have. Many of us don't know how to manage money properly. We don't know how to manage wealth. We don't know, how to really like do that stuff. That I've been being intentional, especially in the last year, to just kind of learn about, money and managing money. And so that has been, I honestly didn't realize how much my money mindset was not in the right place. So you get money and you only know how to spend it versus how can I save, how can I invest, how can I So that I would say has been a challenge also. And my only advice would be that, just when once you are recognizing that this is an issue for you, then you have to be willing to get help. So I hire coaches, I read books, I try to apply as best as I can the things that I'm learning. So far I think those would be my two biggest challenges.
Great. And it seems that you're well on your way to overcoming them because you have the mindset of wanting to learn how to surpass these obstacles. Interesting point, Crystal. We're taking a break now to hear from our sponsors.
Grace has been part of some special moments over the years, helping to make them, well, more memorable, even when they're a little bit unexpected. And with 100 years of great taste behind us, you can be sure we'll be making even more moments for 100 years to come. Grace, taste that moves you.
Searching for a one-stop solution to all your facilities maintenance needs? Visit Manpower Maintenance Services Sales and Distribution Center. We stock a wide range of COVID-19 washroom cleaning and other supplies, gardening tools, chemicals, and more. Our experts are always ready to give you the best advice. Manpower Maintenance Services Sales and Distribution Center, 14 Collins Green Avenue, Kingston, Freeport Commercial Center, Montego Bay, and 33 Ward Avenue, Mandeville. Visit or call us today, 876-920-47215.
Come and see what we do.
John, me know you're in there. Me want no when lights to come back. I know Pinky this time.
Keisha, just like me tell Pinky, give GPS your number and then we'll send your text with them things here. So you can't stop, knock me door.
What you mean?
DMR call GPS and tell them to add your phone number to your account and you will know everything all the time.
You not for ask. Send your current contact information and always be in the know. Visit jpsco.com for more info.
Welcome back. I'm speaking with Crystal Daye of Dayelight Publishing, who is sharing her journey of being a book coach with us and the lessons that she has learned as she has grown her business. Very important point you were making there, Crystal, about seeking the resources that will assist you to overcome the challenges that you face. So let's talk about now how you say you started your business in 2017. How has your book coaching business, your publishing business, grown in the last few years?
I honestly can say that God has been faithful. I'm honestly very humbled about the growth that we have had over the last 6 years of doing this. I mean, I have been doing this full time. So it means that for me, business is not just, business is, this is how I literally take care of me and my family. So, financially, I'm always learning to grow. Financially, I'm always learning to invest, etc. Again, we have worked with as I said, over 500 authors from over 12 countries in the world. And that alone, I can just show you that, things I'm growing and I'm progressing. I have had the opportunity to be on some of the top podcasts in the world. I was named as one of the top 10 book coaches in the world by Yahoo Finance to watch. I've been featured as one of the top 20 Christian life coaches in the world. I've been featured on Top Magazine as a speaker, as a book coach. So it's I think for me, while I'm normally driven to, accomplishment, the truth is my biggest accomplishment is to see my clients, bring their dreams to life, helping them to write their books, helping them to become bestsellers, helping them to launch a speaking platform, helping many of them to also, just grow their brand exponentially, grow their business, because I also do business coaching also. So grow their business. So for me, my greatest success is watching my clients to win. Yes, I have been on, I spoke at, the United States Embassy here in Jamaica, some of the top corporate organization. But for me, it's nice for me to say I've accomplished those things, but I feel like personally, my biggest accomplishment is seeing my clients win. When they invest with working with me, I do my best. I work hard to ensure that they are a success story.
Fantastic. And it's interesting that you should mention the awards and the things that you're noted for, because you basically led up to my next question. Tell me about the awards, some of them, and how that experience, or the experience of winning and being noted in those awards. How has that, or how have those experiences helped to shape and to grow your business and your skills as you've moved along? You've gotten an award, Author Legacy Award in Baltimore in the US. That's another one of them. And as you mentioned, the Yahoo Finance Top Book Coaches to Watch for 2021. What has been the impact of getting all of these awards on your business and your business growth?
I think, all right, so getting awards, it's always great for visibility purposes and credibility. When people see the work that you're doing, because even last year, a church here in Jamaica gave me a Top Kingdom Influencer Award because they have been just watching all the things that I have been saying, right? So all the things that I've been doing with other people. So it is great to be recognized. It feels good, but also it's always a good credibility. People say, oh, well, if she's being recognized by Yahoo Finance, that one, got me on like 4 interviews here in Jamaica, right? Different media outlets, etc. Even the Indie Legacy Award here in Jamaica, being the first Jamaican to win that award is a big deal. And even after that, I have two of my clients one was nominated for the award in the finalists, and one of my other clients won 2 years after I did. So as I said, for me, the awards are great, but I don't know. I guess because I am just always somebody that's always working and putting out my best. While it's great and I enjoy them, I don't really live in those moments, because for me, the impact, the fact that I'm more happier that one of my clients have won it than I do, because it's always for me to pay it forward. And that's just me being honest. That's just so it has helped my business in terms of, yes, it has given me visibility, it's given me credibility. It has kind of made me affirm that, hey, Crystal, you're on the right track. Crystal, you're, the work that you're putting in is good work. The work that you're putting in is professional. You're always operating in a spirit of excellence, and that for me is a blessing. I should add also, last year in 2022, I launched, because of my because of the awards that I've gotten and all of these things, I launched the Kingdom Author Success Conference, right?
Repeat that. Kingdom Author Success Conference.
Yeah, it's a conference and it's an award, right? So I have an award where I am awarding Kingdom authors, in different categories of their books, because again, it's for me, it's not just me, Crystal, being rich and famous, and Crystal, like, I want to pay it forward. That's for me what my impact looked like. The same feeling.
Where do you think that drive comes from, Crystal? That passion that you have for seeing other people grow?
I don't know. This must be God. This must be God. Because I remember even as a child, at age 10, I would be saying to my friends, what is, like, it's preparing for common entrance. How can we go and study? Which school do you want to attend? Making, like, we never have vision board, like telling each other, like, hey, this is a school that we're like, I've always been that kind of person that is always trying to motivate others to be the best. And that's why I have to push myself to be the best that I can be, that I'm always being an inspiration to others.
I think that's something that your spiritual life, because of your faith, it brings to the application of what you do.
Yeah, I think I was born like this. I honestly can say, as even before as a Christian, I've always been like this, but it has amplified because of my faith. But I believe that this is how God has made me. And not just that, while I say God has made me, I also know what poverty feels like. I know what it feels like to go to my bed hungry. I know what it feels like to to not have lunch money or not have books to go to school. And I think that was why I wanted to become a politician, because I wanted to be in a place where I can help others. So knowing what lack felt like, it's not nice. It's not, it's a feeling you struggle with, this spirit of inadequacy and feeling like you're not good enough and you're not deserving enough. And because of that feeling, I just want to help others to not have to feel that way.
And I think you've answered the question beautifully there, because two things came out: your faith and your drive because of your Christian principles and belief, and because of your circumstances growing up and seeing lack. You now want to empower people to get to a place of fulfillment and being able to, capitalize and monetize. So very interesting. And it's an interesting point on which to go to the other question, which is, what are the notes of encouragement that you would give to a nervous entrepreneur, somebody who wants to write a book or to launch a business, but is, timid to do so? What's your encouragement?
I mean, fear is one of those things. So you can look at fear two ways. You can look at fear as, and allow it to cripple you, or you can use fear to fuel you. Fear is there to say, for example, you're at the edge of a cliff. There's a fear that kicks in that is trying to protect you. You understand? So but the truth is, if you had on a parachute on your back and you are at the edge of a cliff, fear, and even though you feel the fear, you know that if you jump off that, you can fly and the parachute will catch you. So I think when we will always feel fear is there again, mostly to protect you, but you can use it to either cripple you or fuel you. And if an entrepreneur that's listening, the fear is okay. What I would say is, one, like the parachute, if you're at the edge of the cliff, the parachute means that you're prepared. So what can you do to prepare yourself that when you jump off, that you will have some cushion, you are able to fly it, right? So as an entrepreneur before, start doing your research, start looking at what problem you need to solve, right? What problem you are solving, who you're solving it for, talking to your target audience, seeing how your skill set and your knowledge can be able to be aligned with what with whatever business that you're going to launch. Get help also, right? Get help. Work with a coach, right? Work with somebody that is able to help you to let the fear, to help to minimize the fear a bit. So I would say, hey, if you have this desire, you can do it. I think about it. I always say to people, think about it. I don't have a desire to go and fly a plane. It's just not a desire of mine. So, it means that most likely I'm not called to fly a plane. But if one day I get up and feel like, you know what, I want to fly a plane, guess what? I'm going to study and become a pilot. Then it means that it's possible for me. So whatever desire you have right now, it is possible. There's nothing, the word of God says that there's nothing impossible with God. So once you have a desire, I believe that it is possible for you, and it's just for you to believe, it's just for you to prepare, and it's just for you to do it. And also I will close with saying that the truth is, failure is not final. Failure is just a learning preparation for your next season. I have had failed businesses before Daylight. I've had failed launches in Daylight. I have failed, as I've gone, or I feel like I've failed many times as I go along this process. But failure doesn't stop me, because I'm thinking about the impact that I could create with what God has given me, more than I'm thinking about preserving myself.
Interesting. What's the next step for you? Where do you see your business going out from here?
Oh, well, I've been asking myself this question for a few months, like, what's next for me? Because so while I had Daylight, I also had the Christian Coaches Alliance. So it was both. So where I certify and train Christian life coaches, because I really do believe that the world needs more Christian life coaches. That season kind of stepped back from the Christian Coaches Alliance and started to focus mostly on the authors, because that's what I feel like the Lord was saying to me, that I should focus more on, just helping authors to share their story, helping them to monetize their books, because that's another thing. Like when we see books, we just think like, oh, just write a book and that's it. No, like there are like over 7 income stream that one author can create. Like you can create a whole business from your book. So I've been focusing on that since last year more than ever. And I think for the next few years, that might be it, where I'm just equipping kingdom authors to write their books so that they can leave a legacy, publish professional books, to ensure that when the books go out there, people are blessed, people are impacted, people's lives are transformed, teaching them how to monetize their books so that they can create financial wealth for themselves and their family, right? So for now, I'm going to say that's the mission. I think one of the major vision is to be the number one faith-based publishing company in the Caribbean. Like Daylight, like every Caribbean country should know Daylight. So that's one. And secondly, I do desire to open a bookstore. It's not just a bookstore, but it's like a oasis where persons can come to, just come and chill and come and read and, just kind of, because I'm obsessed with Barnes. When I travel, I'm always at Barnes and Noble. It's my happy place, just being around books, and just books give you possibilities, books give you exposure. So for now, this is what the Lord has called me to do. I'm also a minister. Of course, I still, I'm a speaker, so I'm always wanting to speak all over the world. I'm going to Trinidad in a few weeks, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to Atlanta in a few weeks, so I'm just always looking to grow my speaking platform so I can share the message that God has given me personally through my personal books. Because while I'm a publisher, I'm also an author. God has given me a mission and message to share with others. But while I'm doing that, I'm also equipping kingdom authors, right, to build a legacy beyond them. So for now, I would say within the next 5 years, to be known as a top publisher in the Caribbean, but while also being a top minister to women of all ages, helping them to know who they are in Christ, but also helping them also to use their message to impact lives.
Thank you so much, Crystal. This interview has provided a lot of gems, and we wish you all the best on your endeavors. That mission, as you call it, seems quite impactful and purpose driven, and we are just sending you some love and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much for the work that you are doing. You are also causing an impact. Thank you for the exposure. There is somebody that has never heard of Crystal Daye that is right now going to be exposed because of your obedience, and for that I am truly grateful also.
Thank you so much. This has been Impacting Jamaica.
Impacting Jamaica is powered by the Philip and Christine Gore Family Foundation, Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited, the Jamaica Public Service Company, Red Stripe, Kyramed, and Proven Investments Limited. If you or anyone you know is involved with projects and activities that excite, motivate, and encourage, send us an email to impactingjamaica@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Do join us again for another in the series on Google Podcast, Audible, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and Stitcher. You can also visit us at impactingjamaica.com.